Hey traders, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about Ocugen, ticker symbol OCGN. Now, I made a couple of videos on them last week, and I laid out kind of both a technical analysis for the short term and a fundamental analysis for the long term. We saw the technical analysis short term play out. I said there was plenty of money making opportunities. However, I was bearish in the long term after looking at the fundamentals. However, my stance on this has changed. And it all just started with a Twitter conversation I had on Friday. And that just sparked me into doing some more research. And now I am seeing a viable bottom line from Ocugen's vaccine efforts that could help them in the long term and justifies this stock price in the long term as well. So, with that being said, let's hop into my new analysis. So here's that Twitter conversation I alluded to. I was having this conversation with a few different people, but then at the Ohio Titan kind of chimed in and, really opened my eyes to a new perspective on how to analyze Ocugen's vaccine potential and the money they can make as a result of these vaccines. First and foremost, I just want to encourage everybody who is interested in trading stocks to hop on Twitter, to hop on Discord and have these conversations because, they're only going to serve to help you, learning different perspectives, being open-minded. And, big shout out to at the Ohio Titan because, he laid out some very good points and it caused me to do further research and change my view, on Ocugen, maybe long-term as a viable investment. And essentially his whole argument was, kind of countering mine that the US does have a need for Ocugen vaccines, not because they necessarily want to distribute it in the United States and give more doses to US citizens, but because the US is also interested in having an international aid effort to get COVID vaccines across the world. That's a perspective I did not consider. I was telling you guys how we already have 1.2 billion vaccines, how the US doesn't need any more. And that may be true. However, as we can see as from AstraZeneca as an example, the US is stockpiling other vaccines from other pharmaceuticals to ship across the world. And that's something where Ocugen could play a role because remember, we were looking at this bullish analysis in last week's video, and we saw that Ocugen did have a couple of unique advantages. Most notably, that they had high efficacy against novel mutants and they could be stored at normal refrigerator temperatures. Now, like I said in last week's video, I didn't think this was enough of a reason for the US to switch over from providing US citizens with Moderna or Pfizer. However, if we're thinking about this as a US aid effort vaccine, this is very much a viable solution because, first of all, you can store them for a long time and you can store them cheaply. And second of all, if we're going to send them to highly affected areas like India that's being hit with like mutant strains of COVID, then this is exactly the kind of vaccine you want. And this could actually be a front runner pending authorization from the FDA. Once again, going into a couple of other studies I read to just confirm that the US is interested in kind of sharing resources with the rest of the world and helping them get vaccinated. We saw this back in February where President Joe Biden announced plans to contribute up to $4 billion to the global COVID-19 vaccine program. That's US aid. And we saw even just as late as this week that the United States will release 60 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine from AstraZeneca to India, and that's huge because remember, AstraZeneca is not one of the vaccines that's available in the US to US citizens. Nevertheless, the US government is purchasing AstraZeneca vaccines to ship worldwide. That could be the exact same case for Ocugen with their highly effective vaccine moving forward. So that's the fundamental analysis here. That's the big changes for me. I am seeing that Ocugen could stand to make some very big money through that Covaxin vaccine if the US plans to start producing it to ship to other countries. Now, let's just quickly take a look at the chart and what we can expect moving forward. So, this chart looks beautiful for Ocugen. We just kind of kept steadily rising throughout the week, hitting a new high on Friday before dropping back and cutting back a little bit, but we're still sitting in very good position. Looking at the indicators, this yellow line here is the volume weighted average price. Ocugen did close slightly above that. That's a very bullish sign. It means the bulls are in control heading into tomorrow's trading session. Other indicators I like to use all the way down here. the intermediate level moving averages. This purple line is the 21-day EMA, and the blue line is the 50-day SMA. As you can see, Ocugen is well above it and just continues to gain ground on those moving averages, which just goes to show you how bullish this is in both the short term and the intermediate term. So now looking at key support and resistance levels, what we can see here is the first support level is going to be right here at 1231. After that, we have 1205, 1150, and 1099. At that point, if we're breaking below, a fourth support level, the stock is going to start to turn bearish. It's going to start to lose some momentum. So at this rate, you may want to cut some of your losses. However, with all the positive momentum and volume flowing into the stock, I really doubt we're going to see that, but it's still very good to know these key levels. Also, with the supports, these are always the ranges you want to look to buy on a dip. You're risking off very little because you can just cut your position if it falls below support. And if you are right, if the support does hold, then you have massive upside. So, keep those ranges in mind. If we see a dip to 1231, you might want to buy a little, or 1205 or 1150, you might want to load up pretty heavily at that point to see if we can get a bounce up. On the other side, resistance levels, there's really not much there because, Ocugen is currently trading near all-time highs. We don't have any data to see how the stock is going to act above this 1324 level that we were testing on Friday, because the stock has never been above that level before. So currently, the only two resistance levels I have charted are 1274 and 1324. After that, who knows how high this stock can go. If we get news that the FDA has approved emergency use authorization for the Covaxin vaccine, this stock could fly into the 20s, into the 30s. There's no telling how high it will go. Final thing we want to take a look at, just to make sure that the bullish flow is still there, is the volume. And you can see, we're not at these volume levels where the stock was really exploding last week. However, you saw it drop down and then you saw it start to pick back up as we headed into the weekend. 140 million on Thursday, 162 million on Friday. So there's definitely still a lot of positive bullish interest in this stock. So with that being said, let me know whether you agree, whether you disagree, whether you're bullish or bearish on the stock. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to, answer them. This whole video is being made just because of somebody, presenting a counterpoint and us having that discussion. And now I have turned kind of long-term bullish on this stock and the potential that Ocugen has. So, just keep those conversations going because they can be very, very helpful and offer new perspectives to different people. Other than that, if you like the video, please leave a thumbs up. If you want more content like this, please subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, have a great rest of your Sunday. Good luck trading tomorrow.